So welcome to my games of the year so far for 2024. Yes, we're already halfway through the year and some incredible games have come out and we still have a few more amazing games to play for the rest of the year. I still need to play Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm gonna get to this game, I swear to God. But I'll ask you guys, what are some of your favorite games so far this year? Are they action games, RPG games, or an indie game? Let me know and everybody else down below. This video is sponsored by Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. This was my game of the year for 2021, and it might be your game of the year for 2024. The game features a brand new story, demons, and locations.
Isn't this a sight to behold?
You can choose between two story paths. The Canon of Creation, which is the original story, or the brand new story, Canon of Vengeance. New characters have been added, there's brand new beautiful locations to explore, and a brand new mysterious dungeon. There's new ways to traverse the world, you can save at any point, and there's also auto battling. There are over 270 demons to recruit and command, including 40 new demons. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance will be out on June 14th, 2024 and is available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One. Click the link down below. Now the first game I want to talk about is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now I did a review on this earlier in the year, but I got so much further into the game, right to the end, and finished it. And I really want to talk a lot more in depth about it. I'm gonna do another video that really deep dives it this year as well. What do I want to say about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that I didn't say in my initial review? I want to say this. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, the first one, I really liked that game. I really did. I enjoyed the storyline. I loved revisiting all the locations in Final Fantasy VII. Yes, it was only the first part of the game, but I enjoyed it. But the fault of the first one, I've always thought, was that it really holds your hand and doesn't give you enough exploration to really go out there into Midgard and really explore. It holds your hand, I feel, all the time, where that is the strength of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, is that there's a lot more open world here. There's a lot more that you can do. There's a lot more that you can unlock. You can unlock towers, unlock all the surrounding areas. You can ride chocobos around. There's so many mini games. That's another thing we have to talk about with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. There's so many mini games that I think a lot of people have been turned off by that. I kind of was charmed by it. It was so fun to revisit so many locations like Gold Saucer and Cosmo Canyon and just do mini games there. I thought they were a lot of fun and they kind of kept my interest, and I'm somebody that doesn't like the novelty of that, but it still didn't wear off on me. I really loved the environments. I loved the amount of money they put in this game. I know I'm gonna say such a thing, but there's a lot of effort put into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I was really sad to hear that the sales are not high enough for them, that it hasn't done that well for Square. And I'm like, really? Really? Like, this is a really monumental RPG that is a remake of a classic RPG. Like, I am just so disappointed that it has not met its sales margins, because to me, this is up there as one of the games of the year, for sure. I mean, the combat, the monsters, the boss battles. Just revisiting Cloud and that entire story with Sephiroth, it's really had an effect on me. And I must admit, I was going through a lot of things early in the year, but the game's very emotional for me. And I had a lot of emotional moments with it, with Sephiroth, with Cloud.
He was in a different league from the rest of us.
Revisiting a game from like 27 years ago for me, it's been a powerful game for me, and I've enjoyed every single aspect of it. And it was great from the beginning all the way to the end.
Take it from here.
Okay, the next game I want to talk about is one that I think is going to be a bit of a cult classic. It's one of those games that I think people will discover when it's a lot cheaper, because I think a lot of people passed over it. And I think that's a crying shame, because I certainly didn't pass over it. It was one that I really wanted to play and really wanted to get into. and it lived up to the hype for me. You know, games are an emotional thing. You have to be there at the right time, the right state of mind, and you sometimes will get the game a lot more. And Sandland was that game for me. Sandland is a great game. And I know it's not a game for everybody. I know I've seen a lot of complaints saying, oh, it's just boring. You're just riding around in a tank in the desert. There's not a lot to do. I beg to differ. There is a lot to do in the desert. There's a lot of things to discover. There's so much you can upgrade in the game. You can upgrade your tanks, your weapons, every single thing you can upgrade. The cycles in the game, the robots in the game. There's so much to do here, and there's a really great storyline. And as I said, one of the selling points of the game was that, you know, sadly, Akira Toriyama passed away, and that was a real big blow to me. I mean, as it was to a lot of you out there. It really had an effect on me. I'm not kidding you. I'm still listening to my Dragon Ball Z vinyl. Now I'm just like still reliving it going, I can't believe he's passed away. And this is one of the things he left us. And I know it's not Dragon Ball. I know it's not Dragon Ball. But it's a beautiful little story, and I like the characters, and I love Akira Toriyama's designs, and I love the storyline. Being in the desert, of course, water is the most cherished commodity in the desert.
Here, have some water.
And I like going around in a tank, blowing things up, and getting involved, you know, taking down the army and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. I like the sneaking missions as well. What? There's a lot to do in this game, and it's one of those games that I think a lot of people just passed over. And as I say, don't overlook this game. Come back to it when it drops in price. Or, you know, get it right now, you know. But I'd say definitely pick it up if you're an Akira Toriyama fan and you want a little bit more and you want to honor him and play a little game, a sandbox game that he kind of created the entire storyline for. And Bandai Namco, I gotta say something. They knocked it out of the park with this game, and I was smiling so much playing this game, and I really liked the mechanics of it all, and a high recommendation for me for this game. Now, the next game I want to talk about is Persona 3 Reload. Now, that's a remake of Persona 3, and that came out on the PS2 back in the day. And this is a beautiful remake, reimagining of the original game. Super high textures, redone menus, and I gotta say, combat and everything has been done in such a beautiful degree.
Nicely done. Enemy eliminated.
Hell yeah!
Now let's move on.
Now, my wife has been playing this, and I've been sitting on the couch. We've been playing it together, and my God, I think we're probably around 60 to 70 hours into the game. Still not anywhere near the end, just grinding and grinding and grinding that game. It's never ending. Yes, because you're just going up a tower, fighting wave after wave of monsters, and then rinse and repeating, doing it the next day. And for a lot of people, that may be boring. That may not be for everybody, but Persona games are an acquired taste, but those who get it, get it. And that's why Persona has such a huge, loyal fan base. And I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy the facelift of it. I love the menus. The menus are unbelievable.
Running a little sale today.
And just a return of some of that classic music. Yes, there's a lot of characters talking all of the time, but it's adding to the storyline and creates a real connection with these characters. Okay, let's get on to Stellar Blade. This is one of the most talked about games of the year. It is. And it should be talked about that it's just an amazing action game with some great mechanics in there, counterattacks, really great stuff just in that regard. You know, with some puzzles to solve, all that, the way you traverse the world, that's great. But the controversy has been about the censoring of the game and the uncensoring of the game. I can't even keep track of it all now, but a lot of people were upset that the game was too revealing, and I'm like, what? Are we crazy? What kind of world are we living in? This character is absolutely beautiful looking and should be celebrated.
Pull yourself together.
I want to see more characters that are good looking in video games. I don't want to play as ugly characters. Like, here's an example. When I play Golden Axe, I want to play as a barbarian, good looking character, not me. I don't want to play as me. I want to play an exaggerated version of characters. That's what I want to play. I want to see great looking characters, better looking characters than yourself, you know? I play video games to escape. I don't want to see myself in them, that's for sure. I want to see great looking characters, and Stellar Blade delivers in that fact, but it also delivers a great storyline where you're trying to reclaim the world and the combat. It's all about the combat in this game, and it doesn't disappoint. Great boss battles. Sometimes when you're biting your teeth, you're down to your health for the last minute, and then you do it. Very satisfying stuff. I bought my copy, and I'm like, absolutely, I'm supporting this game, and you guys should as well. Okay, Vanillaware came blasting onto the scene this year with an incredible game, an incredible strategy game, and that is Unicorn Overlord. Yes, I think a lot of people have played this game, but a lot of people, again, have passed over it going, oh yeah, you know, I play Fire Emblem and stuff like that. This is not Fire Emblem. This is very, very different than that. This is more like the Tactics Ogre series, if anybody's played that game. Really enjoyable combat, building up your troops, leveling them all up, and getting into great combat. And that's the thing about this game. This cannot be held back. The graphics on it, classic Vanillaware. Like, I mean, when I first saw the game, I was like drooling and crying at the same time. I was like, look at this game. This is everything that I want from Vanillaware in a strategy game, and they really delivered big time. And one other thing that's going to be said about this game, great music, great storyline, and yes, there's a lot going on with the different kingdoms and all of that, but it's really enjoyable and a lot of gameplay here. Oh my god, a lot of hours that you can get out of this game, and completely worth it, especially if you're a strategy fan.
Glory to the liberation!
Now here we go, another game came out this year. Yes, it's another remake from Nintendo. It is, and it's Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. And here's my original copy that I got back on the GameCube. You know, it hit me. Let me have my nostalgic moments. This game is already 20 years old, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So that's why I want to say something here. I am not upset about Nintendo doing remakes of their older games, because this is 20 years old, and if I want to play this game now, I gotta put it onto my GameCube and upscale it through my FrameMeister to my TV to be able to play it. So I like the accessibility of playing a Nintendo Switch game. Now that's a remake of the older game. I just put it in my Switch and playing on the go or on my TV, and it's been given a beautiful facelift. I know a lot of people have been complaining that some of the translation, some of the things have changed over time, and I can understand that. I'm not a big stickler for that. I'm actually just happy that the game is out on a modern console and more people can play it. More people can play. As much as the GameCube was a marginal success back in the day, it wasn't a huge success for Nintendo. So a lot of people have never played this game. And you know what's funny about this game? Somebody stole my original copy, and I had to buy another disc for it. And I've looked everywhere for it, so I know somebody took it back in the day because it's that good of a game. And I love Paper Mario. This game was amazing back in the day. Timing your button presses for that, and just the whole Paper Mario look. Yeah! Yes, we had Paper Mario on the N64, and that was a really interesting game. I rented that back in the day, but this is one that I bought just a little bit after it got released. I got the bestseller version, and I sat and I was mesmerized with this game. And it was so charming and so beautiful, and the storyline was really cute, and it really captured my imagination, and I just loved the mechanics of what you do with the paper. Okay, Granblue Fantasy Relink. Yes, a lot of my friends are like, what's that game called again? Because nobody can ever remember the name, because it's a little bit confusing. Now, this is a game that was in the works for so long. It finally came out. Did it live up to expectations? I will ask you guys, did Granblue Fantasy Relink live up to your expectations? A lot of people are saying there's a shorter game. I gotta say, I love the fantasy aspects of this game. I know that's a really weird thing to say because I've covered a lot of fantasy medieval style games and all the games I'm talking about here, but this game is beautiful and it really captures what I love about fantasy. And I love the environments, I love exploring around, I love the anime characters, I do enjoy the combat, and I think the game is really, really worthwhile. A bit shorter, sure, but a lot of heart and a lot of work was put into this game, and a lot of people are like, you know, Granblue Fantasy Relink, watch that. It's another game that I think has slid under the radar, but definitely if you're into fantasy games and you're figuring out all the other big games this year, definitely check that one out. Okay, a game that I thought would be mediocre, I really did. I know I hate to say that, but sometimes you watch a trailer and you judge it just by the trailer. You're like, nope, I'm not getting that game at all. And that is for Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Yes, by Ubisoft. I saw the trailer and I'm like, yeah, it looks mediocre. It's an action game. Okay, side view action game. I didn't really realize it was a Metroidvania style of game. And there's a lot of back and forth thing going on there. You can build up your weapons. And so much to traverse back and forth, so much to unlock, so many puzzles to solve. I thought this was a really well-made game. It's one of those ones that I judged it on the trailer and said no, and then friends of mine said yes. And I was like, okay, I'll pick it up, and I started playing it, and I'm like, okay, they were right. This is a really fun game. I like the art style. I love the storyline of it. And I like myself a good Metroidvania. And I think that they really excelled with this. They could have just done an action game, a generic action game, and I think that would have worked and been okay. That's what I thought the trailer was. But there's a lot more to this game than meets the eye. Again, I'll say it for a lot of these games. Buy it on the cheap. Buy it on the cheap. And experience it, because I think there's something definitely worthwhile here.
Hey, who's having all the fun?
Okay, the last game is a game I was having a lot of fun with. Oh my god, all of these games in this series have always been fun. And that is for Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. And yes, we're improving on the last game. The combat is a lot more refined. I really enjoy the combat. It feels turn-based, but also action-y at the same time. I love getting into combat in the streets, thugs and all that. Really fun stuff. The one thing I really enjoy in the game as well is the Hawaiian setting. I'm somebody, I just want to say this, I love Hawaii. So revisiting Hawaii again in a video game form was so much fun, especially with these characters. And we have a lot of characters returning from the past again. And it just felt like a coming home kind of story.
When did you become such a charmer?
There's a lot of humor in here, but also there's a lot of serious writing in this. And I gotta say that some of the storyline elements in this really kind of had me. And I was like, these are really, really interesting. And that's what I really enjoyed. But the combat, the setting, everything comes together with this game. And if you're on the fence with this one, definitely, I really, really recommend this game. There's a lot of fun and so much humor and just running around the environments, exploring. You're gonna have a really great time with it. So guys, those are some of the big games that I've been playing this year and have been really enjoying that I want to recommend to you. So I'll ask you guys, what do you recommend to me and everybody else in the comment section? What are some really big games that you've been playing or smaller games that you've been playing that you think are like games of the year, some of the best games of the year to you? Let me and everybody else know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.